because it just is so much of what we need today. With all the chaos going on out there in the world, peace. Peace that bubbles up from inside of us. Peace that's the gift of life, that's the gift of consciousness, that's the gift of God. That peace just permeates from once we get clear about it. But she didn't know the symbol we were going to use for the song or what was happening. So when she finished, there it was, peace, which is there are many examples in life of where things that are often considered negative or worse than are taken over by new thought thinkers and by others who are all about life being different and greater. And this used to be the victory sign. In the earlier generations, my generation, and maybe before me, I'm not sure. I just know that when I first saw it, I was in those great hippie days of us all being wild and crazy and breaking the rules. And it was peace. So it converted from victory, which would imply power over, into peace. And I think that's a wonderful thing. So my talk today is all about our inner and outer journey. And love the way you laid the groundwork for that, Barbara. Thank you. Save me having to say some things I now don't have to say. So if you don't know what she said, go back and listen to it. It's there. All about being clear about the parameters of your journey, deciding where you're going and what's happening and who you are and how to be in the world. A wonderful idea. The journey is moving through life. The journey is from now until whatever's at the other end, whether that means a journey to the grave or a journey to the transfiguration, and you rise above all of that. I don't know many people that pull that off. But the idea that it's a journey from here to there, and we get to choose and we get to direct how that journey is going to be and where it's going to go and what it's going to do. We get to choose the quality of our lives. We get to choose the feeling of our lives by choosing what we believe about life, about who we are and where we are. And today, we're talking about the two components of that, which are the inner journey and the outer journey. The inner life and the outer life. If I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times in this teaching and from many teachers in many places and many people, that the first law of life is the law of growth. So that's an element, whether we like it or not, that this journey is going to have. It's going to carry forward with ease, with freedom, and with grace. Now, we can choose to grow toward greater living, greater life, greater freedom, or we can choose to grow toward more limitation, lack, and just finally giving up. You know, they used to say the one thing that's absolutely certain is death and taxes. And I added to that, and then they throw dirt in your face. But that's sort of not true anymore because nobody, people have done with their remains and all sorts of things. But life just has its way of constantly pushing through us, demanding more and greater. And it's going to be more and greater of a sense of livingness or more and greater of a sense of doomsdayness. And if you notice lately in the news and on YouTube and all those Facebooks and all those other places, we're getting a lot more doomsday stuff. And there's a lot of doomsday happening to people. A lot of change going on in the world. And the thing about change is people are afraid of it because we're afraid we'll lose the good stuff and only have the bad stuff left. But the truth is, it's up to us. I love that song because that song says, what are we creating? What kind of world do we want to live in? How are we contributing? And I'll tell you what, all you got to do is change your mind about one thing, change it from a negative, limited thinking to a more positive, open, living life thinking to bring about change, to make that inner world be different. The last few days we've been hit with a whole lot of stuff of people shooting each other, of people losing their cool, for lack of a better word to say, and still, the shootings here in Atlanta, the shooting in Texas. Every time you turn the news on lately, it seems somebody's getting shot. Well, there was a great master teacher a long time ago that said, "Thou shalt not kill." But he took "thou shalt not kill" to another level and said, "Thou shalt not kill with your thoughts, with your anger, with your rage." See, if we can change it here at the inner level, reduce our resentments, reduce our anger, reduce our sense of victimhood, we'll change it out there as well. Yes. But it's got to start here. We got to find other ways to teach each other to handle those angers, those hurts, those feelings of victimhood. And as we change in here, we shift things out there. That's what this center is really, in many ways, is all about. Listen to what we say. We are a strong, open, globally connected community centered on the clarity of principle. Global connected. I don't know if you noticed on the screen earlier, but we had a greeting from Spain. We had a couple of greetings from Pennsylvania. We had a greeting from right here in the room even. That's the beauty of where we are now in life, that people can speak up and say hello from wherever they're hearing my voice or hearing this experience, sharing this experience. It's a wonderful thing, globally connected. We're part of a network of centers and churches and an organization that is worldwide. We are part of CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living. We are part of that center or that organization here in Atlanta, but it spreads throughout the world. One of the places where we're growing the fastest in CSL is Latin America, South America. Big centers down there that are exploding. We can't train ministers fast enough to fill them out, to keep them going, to keep it all out there. They're doing beautiful work online and otherwise. If you speak Spanish, tune into one. You can find them. We have a conference down there now called the Conference of the Americas that is just amazing. It's a rich, wonderful experience where people come from all over Latin America and get together to share these kinds of conversations and to have an opportunity to be with others of like mind from all around the world, all around that part of the world. We have centers in Europe. We have centers in Russia. We have centers in Ukraine. We have centers in Canada. I almost said Canada. No. We have centers in the Orient, in Hong Kong, and in India. We used to have a school in India. It may still be there, but the minister that affiliated with us, I'm not sure is still, I know he's not still alive. He was a wonderful person. So this is a worldwide connection. Now, there are many other groups. This is just one group. There are a lot of people teaching science of mind and New Thought groups that are not us, but they are us because we teach the same stuff. But organizationally, we're different, and they're all over the world as well. So if you start thinking of this organization or this teaching or this center as some small little group, depending on the number of people that show up, know that that's just the tiniest little part of what we're part of. We're part of a network of people who are having a different thought, a different idea, who are changing our innards in order to change the outward world as well. People who stand up, people who go to the legislature and committees and try to get things organized in a different way to be more supportive of people. Folks who march for peace, folks who march for the rights of women, the rights of non-gender specific folks, and all of those things. People are doing all this, many of whom are getting their inner work through Centers for Spiritual Living and other New Thought organizations. We are not here just to feel good about ourselves. We're here to feel good about ourselves and make a difference. The thing is, if you're feeling good about yourself, you can't help but make a difference. Have you ever been in the grocery store line behind somebody that wasn't feeling good about themselves? They made a difference. Have you ever been behind one where somebody really did feel good about themselves? You just can tell they love what they're doing. They find great joy in just where they work and how they get to show up. They make you feel better just by talking to them. Some of you do that already out there in the world. We make a difference wherever we are. So we go on to say we're globally connected, centered in the clarity of principle. By clarity of principle, I think we're talking about the idea of oneness. There is only one power, one light, one life, and everything that exists and is comes out of that and lives back into it. Comes out of it not in the sense of separating from it, but out of it in the sense of forming within it, is probably a better way to say it. We are formed within this one power. We are concentrated foci of energy and information, where our personalities get to monitor and to guide and direct how that energy of life flows through us. Think about that a minute. You're in charge of your life. I don't know about you, but there have been times in my life where I didn't want to be. Somebody please take over this thing and tell me what to do. Right? But you know, the answers are always right at hand. That great master teacher said it first, maybe not first, but he said it a long time ago. The kingdom of God is at hand. The God presence, the God power, the God goodness, whether you call it God or life or spirit or whatever, universe, it's at hand. It not only is as close as your hand, it is your hand. It is the mind with which you think, move, and have your being. Yeah. So we are part of that center. We are part of that larger teaching of the principles of oneness. You know, it sounds kind of, well, yeah, everybody knows about oneness is one power, But that is a radical departure from the way most people in the world think. The percentage is much higher now for oneness thinkers, but we are not the majority yet. If we were, the world would be a very different looking place. Because to really understand that, we get that there is no other. There is no one outside of us, not even people who belong to the other political party, not even the Proud Boys. Now, that may be hard for some of us, no question about that. It takes some big loving to love on those people we see as dangerous, as hurtful, as harmful to us and to our way of life, if that's how you think and what you feel. But the truth is, everyone on the planet is just trying to find a way to express love the best they know. And sometimes that means they have to push everything aside except a certain little path where love can happen. When the truth is, love is showing up all over the place with all kinds of folk. And those of us who know that, who recognize the oneness, have to see past the behaviors of people into their hearts and into their truth and exercise the ancient namaste. The spirit in me recognizes the spirit in you. Because the more we do that, the more that spirit will show up in their lives as their lives. The more it will make a difference for them. If you don't ever do anything else for the world except walk around thinking and say namaste to every person you meet, do that. It will change the world. It's really important to get clear on who we are and the power that we have as individuals. We have the power not only to change our lives, but to change the world through how we think, inner journey, and what we do, outer journey. The important piece here is where you start. You start in here. You start with the inner journey. You start with changing your beliefs. Then if you're so led and so called to stand up for something, go do it in whatever areas of influence you have. You know, we have artists in here that produce beautiful paintings that touch people. We have cooks here that touch my heart on a regular basis when they bring food. You know, we have so many ways that we make a difference in people's lives. Find your gifts, the things you care about, and love them and love yourself from the inside, and they will find places and ways to be expressed on the outside. No doubt about it. So, through teaching, service, and practice. Love the teaching part. That's a big part of my job. Love the practice part, because I can't preach what I don't practice. I can't teach what I haven't practiced. That was what last month was all about, was talking about various ways in which we practice the principles of this teaching. You notice I skipped over the service part. Well, I'm lazy sometimes. Maybe you are too. Because when I hear the word service, all I think is, oh dear, he's about to ask for money. Oh dear, they want me to do something. Probably something I don't want to do. Probably something that's going to cause me more pain and difficulty. The service we practice is a service of love and passion and compassion. Not because there's some drudgery to it, not because we have to make ourselves do it, but because there's joy in it for us to do that. I love showing up here. I love speaking to you and listening to you and hearing about where things are in your lives. That's service, but there's nothing hard about that. That's just joyful. Hey, and I've even been known to set up a chair or two and make coffee and do some of those things, because those things allow us to be together in a different way, and it's rich and wonderful. So we as a community have declared this is our truth. This is what we do. Teach, service, practice. And in doing that, we create a safe and respectful environment that supports healthy spiritual growth. It's a beautiful phrasing of our intentions and desires. I didn't write it. This came from our predecessor, perhaps our founder, I'm not sure, David Barrett, who started this center 11 years ago. He was here until he wasn't. There's a lot of sadness about that for many, many people, a lot of pain. And then Paul Gagnier took over, having come out of retirement, maybe for the second time at least. And, we ministers can't retire. We pretend to. I'm retired, even though I'm working full-time here. I retired from the School of Spiritual Leadership and the Holmes Institute for Consciousness Studies, where I ran all of that program, but didn't mean I stopped ministry. I'll stop ministry on this planet when I stop breathing, and then I'll still be haunting y'all from somewhere else, I promise. Because I ain't giving that up. Just count on it. You're too important. You carry a version of this teaching that is too important to let go in any way, shape, or form. Now, here comes the hard part of the conversation. That said, starting this month, today actually, we are only meeting in person once a month. We're going to meet on the first Sunday. We're going to have food. We're going to have a party. We're going to have a workshop. We're going to do something, all part of that Sunday gathering. And the other weeks, we'll still gather, but we're going to gather online. You can watch us on all those different places you're watching us now, those who aren't here. And you can participate through Zoom in conversation and classes and other things. And all of that really matters and is important. The hard part of the conversation is, in order to continue that, and in order to be back here in person or in some facility like this in September on a weekly, regular basis, we require your support. Now, those in the room and many of you who are watching online already do that. So I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the ones who don't support us. I'm talking to the ones who gather so much good from watching this. I get calls often from friends and acquaintances on the West Coast saying, we get our good ideas for our talks because you talk 3 hours before we do, and we get to add and tweak things at the last minute. I'm like, okay, then send me some money. No apologies there. Prosperity is about circulation. And we can't pay the bills here on good thoughts. You pay the bills on cash. Well, we don't use cash much, but we pay the bills through electronics. Money used to be things like shells and beads and hard, big thing. Carry a big pile of shells with you if you had a lot of money. But now it's simply the electronic blip. It's zeros and dashes is what our money really is, and an agreed upon value. So I'm not saying to just throw away your zeros and dashes, but I'm saying if you find good value here, please give some back, because it will guarantee that we keep being here. It will guarantee that we can keep doing this, paying the bills, etc. Am I hearing noises? Okay. Hi, Robert. Robert Brzezinski is the head of the New Thought Radio Network and is helping us produce and manage all of this online for those of you out there. So support them, but support us too. Have I said enough? Have I driven that in the ground? I want you to get that. It's really an important piece to know that we cannot continue to do what we're doing at the rate of giving that we're receiving. Now, we will continue to be the Center for Spiritual Living, and it may take a Midtown. It may take a whole different shape and form. I'm not stopping. I've gotten rejuvenated. I've been in a rehab program that's got my body moving again, and I'm grateful for that. I'm not stopping. But if you want us to continue here in person, if you want us to have the opportunities to keep broadcasting, we need your help to do that. Now, it's bad form. They teach us in ministerial school to say things like this if you're a New Thought church. We're only supposed to be positive. We are prosperous. We are prosperous. No question about it. We just taught some classes on prosperity where all of us who participated had some increase in our prosperity. That's what we're about. We're not about just trying to get money out of you. We are about teaching prosperity as a spiritual practice and a way of life that allows your increase to grow and flow with ease and freedom. We're here for you. And in being here for you, we're here for us, because we are you. It goes around and around. We've been through a hard time the last 3 years. 3 years ago, we had just turned, I'd been there a little over a year and a couple of months, and we had just turned this boat. We had just had an amazing community meeting or two where we had set out some visions, some goals, some ideas of who we are and who we'll be. We were meeting in a very lovely place downtown at the Academy, and people loved that spot. I did too. It was wonderful. And then COVID. March. Everything exploded. We all had to stay home. But you know what? We were ahead of the ball from many CSL centers because we were already teaching classes online. So we knew how to do this online thing. Didn't miss a Sunday. We went right from meeting in person to meeting online through Zoom and other things. And over this great, people call it all kinds of things. I think of it as a great pause. As a pause in busyness in the world. It was the only time I've ever seen it quiet on North Druid Hills Road on a Sunday morning. Holy Moses. I could get to the grocery store and back in 10 minutes instead of an hour. It was fabulous, that part. But this great pause, which caused us to have time to go within, have time to do our own inner work, have time to discover what really matters to us. How many stories have you heard of people who during COVID stopped doing what they'd been doing, went off and did something else? Back to the earth, farming, and all kinds of interesting, different changes. Well, now we're coming out of that. The CDC just declared it's not a problem anymore. But we're still dealing with what's left over. Kind of like, you're all grown up and you're an adult and you're living your way, yet your mama still talks to you in the back of your head. Where those events from childhood still impact your present. Well, the event of that whole intense pandemic still talking to us back there. I went to a concert Friday night, beautiful, wonderful music concert. Weren't very many people there. Haven't had many people in person there since COVID. We've all gotten used to sitting at home watching TV, or we've gotten used to not being out. And I have to admit, I didn't sit close to anyone else except the person I came with, because I want to make sure. And I thought, I don't have to do that anymore. That's ridiculous. Some people, I'm not faulting anybody for how they're choosing to handle this. But coming back in person means we get to be back out here if we want to. Center for Spiritual Living, Midtown can do that if we want to. But we cannot do it without the support, the financial and otherwise, to bring this together. We not only need money, we need talent. We need somebody to help me do the website. It's a scary thing watching me trying to update the website. You don't want to see that too much. But I'm going to do it until we find somebody else who can help. The same thing is true with our social media. I'm doing that too. And I've chosen to take a reduced salary this month and even more reduced next month, because this center matters to me, because I want us to be here. And I'm looking forward to when our mattering makes sense to more people and the value of what we're doing here gets through and we begin to grow again. We begin to grow on the outside. We're growing on the inside. The growth within our membership and our people here has been very powerful. But it's time now for the growth to begin to happen on the outside. So we're doing a reset. We're going back to once a month in person, and the other weeks is going to be online. Please join us, support us, and please help us take this to the level, to churn and turn this internal growth that's happened into external expression and external growth as a center. It's really important and necessary. Today, right after this, we're having food, and then we're having our business meeting, annual membership business meeting. Tune into that, if you will, if you're interested at all in us and this center as a group. You can do it on Zoom. It's really easy. Go to the website, get the number, or I can tell you right now off the top of my head. Join the meeting, 404-996-1302. It's the same number we use for everything. It's the only way I can remember it. It's a good thing. Join us. Come hear where we are and how we're doing and what the directions are that we are coming to. Because you matter. CSL Midtown matters. We're all wonderful. This is all about good. It's just shifting form, perhaps. And I'm wide open to understanding what that new form needs to be, and I'm supporting all of us in finding that for this amazing, wonderful, loving community. Because you're wonderful, so am I, so it is. Thank you. Thank you.